For a second, I almost wanted to say that we don't have opposition parties here in South Africa. Then I realized, you know what? There are opposition parties because all they do is oppose and they don't have a chance in hell in being the governing party, as opposed to what the media and journalists would love saying, the ruling party, as if we have a king or a chief governing, ruling. So we really don't. But one thing that I've noticed now is that the DA leader as well as the EFF leader spoke about the same thing. John Steenhuisen spoke about how the president of the ANC really essentially how he's not putting South Africa first. He quoted Jacob Zuma. Remember, Jacob Zuma once said that the ANC comes first before the country of South Africa. And not long ago, President Cyril Ramaphosa said that he rather be seen or viewed to be weak by not doing anything to criticize the ANC government. In fact, basically, the ANC, that he says essentially he wants the unity of the ANC first before South Africa. So essentially, President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Jacob Zuma are agreeing with one thing, that they are putting the African National Congress first. But then he did a word play of where he's saying, Mr. President, put South Africa first. And this stems from the movement, which obviously these politicians are now noticing, called Put South African First, right? So he did that whole little smart way of eventually talking about Put South Africa first. And then on the other hand, it was Julius Malema again, more like Cyril Ramaphosa when he spoke, when he did he quoted a poet, Maya Angelou, and wanted to link that poem with what he was talking about, which really didn't correlate and didn't make sense. So the same thing now happened with Julius Malema. He also mentioned put South Africa first, obviously, again being agitated by the movement, criticizing it, and saying that we have to put the whole continent first and not South Africa first. And so one little interesting thing was this Fynbos saying by Cyril Ramaphosa. I didn't know. I'm not familiar with the Fynbos. Apparently, it's sort of a shrub which renewed itself through fire for a period of like 10 years. If the fire comes before or 10 years, it stunts the growth of that shrub, or if it comes after 10 years, it delays it also. So the fire has to just be perfect for 10 years. And Steenhuisen was just talking about how Cyril Ramaphosa was just giving a bad, metaphors of comparing the COVID-19 to be a fire, obviously, which is going to be ravaging and burning us all. And then from the rubble of the fire of the COVID-19, that's when we would rise again. Just a bad example. You don't want people, obviously, to get sick and get decimated by the disease. So the movement right now, obviously, the first person who also jumped into it was Mr. Mashaba, who now formed an organization called Action SA. Once in a while, put South Africans first, or put South Africa first, or put South African first movement would trend regularly, okay? And the EFF, especially the former spokesperson, Dr. Ndlozi, the fierce critic of the movement, because obviously the EFF is a socialist slash communist organization. They don't believe in individual freedom. They don't believe in the individuality, individual entrepreneurship, individual liberty, and individual rights. Basically, they deal with the collective. It's an ideology that comes from Karl Marx. It's an anti-capitalist philosophy. Well, the irony, obviously, most of the time is the communists using capitalist gadgets and devices in order to propagate their philosophies while criticizing the same system of governance. Mostly, which is unfortunate, the communists and socialists, they mistake capitalism with crony capitalism, okay? Where the free market capitalism is a capitalism where an individual can have a dream, have a vision, have an idea, and then in an environment where there's a freedom of speech and the policies that would enable to and the environment that would enable an individual to be able to come up with their businesses and thrive, okay? As opposed to crony capitalism, where the governing party of the day and its top elite people are then having a relationship with few, say, top five corporation in the country, where they have a deal where when those giant corporations are seeing a competition coming through, they can influence their government, their friends whom they are like intermarried with, as in one thing now, to stop their competition. And then as a result, the communist and socialist pounds at those situations and say, aha, look, this is what capitalism is all about. We want a place where the society, the government controls everything, infrastructure, the business, and everything. And when the government controls everything, it basically means that you, the people down there, are the government and you're controlling everything. See? So this is what normally happens. Crony capitalism and oligopolies, a plural of sort of monopolies, like 4-5 giant monopolies coming together and working with government in order to get all contracts from the government, what we now know as a tender, to take over and then make the people on the ground to be disillusioned and say, we don't believe in capitalism, or else that's not capitalism and it's crony capitalism. So whenever, and remember, for some reason, socialism and communism works with the ideals of or pan-Africanism. So that's why you see most political parties, they don't, in Africa, certainly in South Africa, they don't have the name of of South Africa in it. You can look at the PAC, the Pan African Congress, the ANCs, the African National Congress. So it's not South African National Congress or Pan South African Congress, because they're thinking in a way of saying, oh, we want to have the United States of Africa, as in some sort of a big front, which is going to maybe take over or challenge the United States of America or the European Union. Whereas they don't even understand that in the United States of America, the individual states and what we call provinces here, they are independent. They are independent, and in the law, they are even able to secede and say, we are getting away from this United States of America if we don't agree with A, B, C, D. And as a result, if you look at countries like that, where you have states that have different laws, sometimes it encourages and it makes progress and civilization to get better, because each and every state copies the other trial and error of what the other states are doing. If it's something that thrives, other states might follow it. And if it's something that goes wayward, then other states don't even invent it. So if you take different ideas from individual nation in Africa and balkanize it and put it together, it's obviously going to be controlled by one individual, one parliament, one military. So as a result, even if you're going to say, for the people who like to talk about the imperial America or the imperial British coming to rule us, that's going to be easy, because now they just have to deal with one head of state and one policies of one continent. So one thing about individual liberty, individual entrepreneurship, and free market capitalism, it encourages individuals to excel and other individuals to also copy from those individuals. Anyway, so that's my take basically of the state of our nation address reply now, because the other issues of employment, education, and the usual top 5 issues is the same thing, is the same thing, and there's nothing much different. And I'll make sure that I'll take some time to dissect other political issues as time goes by. Thanks for watching. My name is Mamuji, and thanks for watching the Mamuji Show. I'm out.